All right, so now we're going to go about the work of constraining the sketch, okay? Which means locking things into place correctly. All right, so we'll refer back to this while we go through here. One thing we'll do first, save your work. All right, so you'll click save. I haven't changed anything since I saved last, so that's why it's not showing me anything. It'll always say user saved when you go to do that. That's fine. Basically, what they are doing is if you are building something like in installments that needs to be kind of checked over by like your team lead or something like that in the future, essentially it will save different versions of it. All right, and it will keep track of the changes that have been made. And so let's say you got the wrong numbers for like how big the exhaust pipe should be on your power plant or something. I don't know. So you can just go back to wherever the last version was, and if you have them named, you can say, oh yeah, this is the one we need to like start from and work from there. Okay, so just hit OK, and now we're moving on. We're going to add a line here. And I'm going to make it a construction line. All right, so I clicked line. I'm clicking construction because we just want this to be referenced in our sketch and not necessarily seen later on the sketch as an object line. Okay, so let's see. I've tried to pan a little bit. All right, I just need this to go through the middle. And so you can see when I highlight over, it's saying, oh yeah, that's lined up with the center, right? Okay, so then I'm going to come all the way through it. It's okay if it goes like longer than the height of the thing. Say okay. All right, and so we're going to turn off this construction piece now, and we'll reference that for our first constraint. So first constraint we want to do is make this coincident with this line. All right, so that is this one right here. Okay, basically it means 2 points can share one space, all right, or they share one space. All right, and unfortunately, it moved the line over. Fantastic. I think, let's see. Okay, there's another way to do this. If I reverse the order that I selected them, that would fix that. All right, so I'm going to hit Control-Z and Control-Z. There we go. And this time, I'm going to pick the point first. Did I do that? Maybe it's this and then the point. Nope, same thing. So let's try the other way now. Control-Z. So pick the point and then the line. Keeps moving. All right. We will figure this out. So you know what we need to do then? Let's make this coincident with the center. Haha, that will teach them. All right, so now that that's done, make this coincident with our line. Aha, all right, so good, we've done 6A, so click OK. What else do we need to do? And again, it's freaking out, so better do this. One side of the pentagon is horizontal, located ½ inch above the center point of the rectangle. Sure, let's do it. So going to here, we want to make this horizontal, right? So we're going to select the horizontal constraint. That's the equal constraint. These are horizontal or vertical. So we're going to select this, and it will make its best guess if you want the line to be horizontal or vertical based on the angle of it, right? If it's more than 45 degrees, it's going to make the thing vertical. If it's less, it's going to make it horizontal, all right? So we've added that constraint, and now you can see that constraint added on there. It's this like fuzzy, looks like a little beard on a line thing. That is called the horizontal or vertical constraint, all right? And we want to dimension this. All right, so this is another kind of constraint. It's a dimensional constraint to be ½ inch above, right? So bring it off of the object. Remember, good practice here. All right, there we go. So we've got 6B done. All right, so 6C, one side of the hexagon is parallel with the 6-inch side of the rectangle. Okay, so coming back to here, parallel with the 6-inch side, that would be this tall side. So we're gonna do parallel, all right? And we can pick really any of these lines because it'll shift it around, all right? So here we go. Bingo, got it. All right, so 6C is done. 6D, the center of the hexagon, coincident with a diagonal of the rectangle. Okay, hexagon, coincident, diagonal. All right, so we're going to do the coincident again. Pick the center and pick this diagonal. Now that should not move because it's already constrained. All right, and yeah, it's there. All right, good. So we've got that done. The center of the hexagon is ½ inch below the top side of the rectangle. Okay, so they've got that shown here. So go back to our Fusion, and we will, so watch what's going to happen. When we dimension that, since this is already constrained, I want you to imagine how this thing will move, okay? You might be interested to see how it moves. So we're going to do this line and dimension it to that point, bring this off over here, nest it below the bigger dimension, 0.5. Aha, see, it slid up the diagonal, all right, because it's locked onto that diagonal. That's what a coincident constraint does. Good, we're getting close to finished here. One vertex of the equilateral triangle is coincident with a corner of the rectangle, all right? So they're sharing a corner. All right, so let's go back to Fusion and coincident constraint. And we can really pick any of these. So let's pick this one. And we're gonna make it coincident with that. Okay, so technically it did what we wanted, although it is off of our shape right now. We'll see if they have more directions on how to finish constraining it so that, you know, it looks better. All right, so let's go back to the directions. The center point, okay, this is what's gonna position it, of this triangle is coincident with a diagonal. Well, here we go. So go back to here. You're getting really used to the coincident constraint, okay? Click that, click our line, and now this thing should look exactly like their thing here, okay? Awesome. So one quick note that you should know, invisible constraints. Sometimes you will add a constraint automatically without a constraint display. For example, two opposite sides of a regular hexagon will be parallel by default, all right? So this is gonna be parallel to its opposite side. That parallel symbol right there is actually, you know, about the parallelism to this line. But they're saying automatically it's going to apply that constraint when you make a hexagon with even sides, even number of sides. If you later try to add the same constraint or another that conflicts, you will get an error message, okay? So when you get those kind of error messages, you probably need to turn on your constraints, which in Fusion, I forget the way you do it, is just when you're on the sketch palette, you know, you can turn off the constraints or show them. Try to look at them, examine them, and figure out what's going on. All right, see if you need to delete one to make something else happen. Okay, that should be about it for number 6. Let me just double check. And then some reflection questions. Okay, is your sketch fully constrained? Well, we're not going to deal with that right now. We'll move on to the next problem.